So Julius Malema has been talking tough about the West and telling them that they should not try anything with his own brother. That is the, the only sweetest African president, cute, tall, dark, and handsome. Guys, you all know that in this life where we are, nobody can try our Ibrahim Traore because we are all talking tough about it. And Julius Malema had told the West not to unalive Ibrahim Traore. That Ibrahim Traore is not somebody you can unalive at all. They should not try it. That please, so they should go and stay on their own now. What do they really want from Ibrahim Traore? What do they want? If you go to somebody's house and the person says, sorry, you cannot come into my house, why on earth do you want to force things? Why do you want to force things? Guys, let me know your thoughts on the comment section. Oh, thank you, by the way, for coming. Thank you so much for always watching our videos. We don't take it for granted. You all know that if you have been following my page, you know that I love and love and love Julius Malema, and I do not joke with Julius Malema. And for those of you who do not know who Julius Malema is the leader of the EFF. EFF is a political party in South Africa, a famous political party. And Julius Malema is a Pan-Africanist. Julius Malema is one of the best Pan-Africanist you can ever see in on the continent of Africa. A sweet man, a man that believes in Africa, a man that wants Africa to unite. I know that most South Africans do not like him because he's always saying that Africa should unite, that they say they don't want to unite with Nigerians, they don't care, blah blah blah, that and all that. But at the end of the day, Julius Malema is a G. Have you ever met this man? If you listen to Julius Malema talk, there was one of his interviews I watched on one of this South African TV, and Julius Malema sat down and talked about why he feels that it is actually wrong for African countries to be having a visa to travel to another African country. Just like in the other continent, they have a particular passport that once you have, you can travel to all the countries under that continent. But in Africa, it's different. You need a visa to travel to some of the African countries. And Julius Malema is saying, no, we don't need that. We don't even need boundaries. We don't need any gates. We don't need everybody. It should be a free flow, but of course you have your passport to identify who you are. Julius Malema is one politician that is sweet. Now some people have like, oh, because you don't know Julius Malema. I know Julius Malema because you too who claim to know Julius Malema, I've never sat with him. You don't know him. I've sat under Julius Malema watching his live interview for over an hour, and I was not done, and I was still hungry to hear more. Julius Malema is a Pan-Africanist that does not allow money to overwhelm him. Just recently, Julius Malema celebrated his 10th anniversary. I think that was last year, with his very beautiful wife. And now people have said, oh, Julius Malema is this guy was married before. Excuse you. A lot of people have been divorced not because they were bad, but because they weren't compatible. Marriage is all about love, compatibility, understanding, and making excuses making excuses for each other and being there for each other. The companionship is what marriage is all about, right? So you cannot judge a man because he had the first failed marriage, but you can see that he has lived with the second woman for over 10 years right now, and their marriage anniversary was celebrated to a dinner where Julius Malema's wife wore a very beautiful green dress and he was on a suit, and they looked super amazing. Now Julius Malema is one person that also came out to talk to Black South Africans to say, why are you trying to make the whites or the West laugh at us? Why is Chidinma Adesina's case a problem? This girl, and Julius Malema actually supported Chidinma, making her to understand that she's an African, that they should forget whether she's from South Africa or not. That even though South Africans have rejected her that she is not from South Africa, she should not worry, but she should take it knowing that she is an African, number one. That's the most important thing. And Julius Malema spoke to the Black South Africans, telling them no, they should calm down and welcome this girl as their sister. Yes, because we cannot continue worshiping the West and looking down on our own, because we are who we say we are, and not what the West had defined us to be. And now Julius Malema had to wind into the Burkina Faso issue. And the Burkina Faso people have been going through a lot of issues. Why are they going through a lot of issues? Because Burkina Faso decided that they know that one of the Sahel countries. And I said no, that they don't want IMF loans and grants. They don't want any foreign aid. They said, okay, now if you're a foreigner, you can no longer own lands in Burkina Faso. You won't own lands. The only thing you can do is to have a lease of property and then you pay. And from nowhere, the West began to get angry. They say, okay, Chinese, you can no longer do things like this. You have to pay your taxes the right way. And for the 2 years Ibrahim Traore had taken over power. Now a lot of people have been of the school of thought that, oh, once you take over power through plotting a coup and succeeding, you are going to be unalived and all. But for the past 20 times they've tried to unalive Ibrahim Traore, they've not been able to do that. They've not been able to achieve that. All because God is on the side of Ibrahim Traore. Now, I did this background, I've laid this background because I want you to understand the dynamics of African politics. And if they say, oh, that's what they did to Gaddafi, and see, the truth is that when they removed all these people, you can see how their countries turned out to be. If you see a leader who is doing well, whether he entered into power through coup, remember, after the democratically elected president of Burkina Faso, there was a military man who took over. This man did not do well. The military officer did not do well. He was just doing the same thing the civilian people were doing, who call themselves the democratically elected people. They were doing it, embezzlement, dancing to the tune of the West and all that. And then everybody, was our Burkina Faso, president, who is Ibrahim Traore, decided to, topple the government. And they toppled the government. And then in Niger, they also toppled the government. And then Mali, all of them came together. And Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they decided to also exit ECOWAS. And ECOWAS tried to see how they can pacify them to come back. They said no. The reason, all the core values of ECOWAS has not been implemented. Nothing is being done to ensure that, the countries that make up ECOWAS are benefiting anything. Rather, the only thing they do is they meet and discuss, and then nothing is being done. They don't implement any of their discussions. So they are going and they try to send people to mediate, and those people came and they said no, they want to go. So all of these things is now why most African countries, presidents and leaders are joining the West to fight Ibrahim Traore. For what? Do you understand? It doesn't make sense. Ibrahim Traore is not a leader that you will put in your pocket. A guy that on his own, he goes out in early hours of the morning. You know that early hours, those women that sweep the road, he goes there to greet them. Ibrahim Traore is one person that sees people suffering and he wants to make life easy for them. Ibrahim Traore said, we don't want foreign aid. We will do internally generated. And the truth is, why the US is even very upset with Ibrahim Traore, I won't say the whole US, but their government, is the fact that Ibrahim Traore rejected their support, and they are saying that he's actually generating revenue within the country without their aid. That alone is making them upset. And this is why I say this to say that if other African countries that US aid has withdrawn their support, they can also internally generate revenue and make the West know that we can do without you. Do you understand? So why is it that they have withdrawn aid? The US aid has withdrawn aid, but the US government is still interested in Burkina Faso. Why? All they are trying to do is to ensure that there is a breakdown of law so that they can now say foreign military men will come in. But in this case, just like Julius Malema has talked, he has said in this place, say, please, that is solidly behind Burkina Faso's president, Ibrahim Traore, that nobody should not chicken out. He should brace up and know that he has told them that nothing must happen to him, not even a hair from his head must fall off. Guys, I want you guys to let me know your thoughts on the comment section. If you're a true Pan-Africanist, if you're a true African, you know what Julius Malema stands for. You know what Africans have been through in the hands of people who come to embezzle, people who come to take their natural resources. Because the truth is that the West need us, but we don't need them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in our next one. Until then, keep being amazing. We love you, Julius Malema. Keep going.